Before you brag about how polite and well-mannered you are, ask yourself one ugly question. If politeness is so powerful, why do the blunt, rude, unapologetic people in your life keep getting what you secretly want? Why does the coworker who interrupts everybody walk away with the promotion, while you sit there with your perfect email etiquette and great attitude, watching from the sidelines? Why does the friend who doesn't care how it sounds get respect, space, and compliance, while you get talked over, taken for granted, and used as emotional customer service? Why is it that the people everyone calls too direct, too harsh, or kind of rude are also the same people nobody wants to cross? Meanwhile, you bend, you soften, you over-explainingly smile through disrespect. You think your politeness is a virtue. To the wrong people, it's just a green light. Here's the uncomfortable truth this video is about. Rudeness is a superpower. Not the childish, screaming, abusive kind. Not insulting waiters and slamming doors. That's insecurity in costume. The kind of rudeness we're talking about tonight is Machiavellian. Saying no without a song and dance. Refusing to laugh when something isn't funny. Ending conversations when they start to waste your time. Stopping people mid-sentence when they cross your line. Not apologizing for existing, taking up space, or disagreeing in a world where everyone is terrified of being seen as mean. The person who is willing to risk that label often ends up with all the leverage. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He watched how most people behave, scared of disapproval, hungry for acceptance, easy to manipulate by shame. And he noticed something brutal about human nature. Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. Niccolo Machiavelli, you know what rude appears like to the average person? Power. Someone who doesn't flinch. Someone who doesn't beg. Someone who doesn't fear a little tension. You might be the kindest, most loyal person in the room, but if you appear soft, scared, and overpolite, you get treated like an easy target long before anyone discovers your heart. Most people never see your reality. They only respond to your appearance. And most appearances are lies. The loud guy isn't always confident. The blunt woman isn't always cold. The quiet one isn't always weak. But the world doesn't wait to find out who you really are. It responds to the signals you send. Here's what you've been doing. You've been sending the signals of prey and then crying because you keep meeting wolves. That's what this video is here to break. Not by turning you into a cartoon villain, but by giving you permission to use a weapon you were trained to fear: social rudeness. Before we go on, let's draw a hard line. Destructive rudeness. Humiliating people in public. Insulting for fun. Screaming. Name-calling. Throwing tantrums. Attacking people weaker than you. Strategic rudeness. Saying no once and meaning it. Refusing to engage in fake small talk when you don't want to. Cutting short disrespectful conversations. Refusing to explain yourself to people who only want control. Not cushioning every truth in 10 layers of sugar. One destroys your reputation. The other protects your life. You've been so terrified of becoming the first that you never learned how to use the second. So you sit there swallowing anger, discomfort, and humiliation, then unload it later on yourself. Silent arguments in the shower. Imaginary comebacks in bed at night. Entire fake conversations in your head with people who crossed you. You're not nice. You're repressed. One person wrote this under a video about boundaries, and it cuts deeper than any self-help book. I thought I was kind because I never snapped at anyone. But really I was just scared of conflict. The day I finally said, "Don't talk to me like that," I felt rude and more honest than I had in 10 years. That's what this whole topic is about. Honesty that looks like rudeness to people who benefit from your silence. Machiavelli didn't write about rudeness the way we use the word now, but he understood the importance of not being overly gentle. He watched leaders who were so terrified of being seen as harsh that they ended up weak, mocked, and eventually overthrown. He also watched men who were called cruel, rude, even monstrous, but who left behind order, respect, and peace. His conclusion was ugly and accurate. For the great majority of mankind are satisfied with appearances, as though they were realities, and are often more influenced by the things that seem than by those that are. Niccolo Machiavelli, you've been obsessed with being good. The world is responding to how you seem. You seem harmless. You seem endlessly available. You seem too scared to offend anyone. So people who are looking for someone to use, to drain, to blame, to overwork, pick you. Again, and again, and again. That changes the moment you let yourself look a little rude. Let me give you 3 real-life scenes where rudeness would save you. Scene 1. The group that uses you. You're with friends. They joke about you. Little digs. Stories that embarrass you. You laugh along because you don't want to make it awkward. They keep going. Why wouldn't they? To them, your fake laugh is consent. Strategic rudeness in that moment means something as simple as, you stop laughing. You look at the person. You say, calm and flat, yeah, that joke's tired. Talk about something else. Silence. They stare. Someone snickers. You might feel your whole nervous system screaming. You ruined the vibe. Good. That vibe was built on your humiliation. Let it die. Because here's what you actually did. You taught them your name is not a toy. You introduced tension where they used to enjoy freedom. You made it slightly more expensive and risky to disrespect you. Will they say you're too sensitive? Maybe. Will some people quietly respect you more? Definitely. Will the worst ones slowly drift away because you're no fun to bully anymore? Perfect. Scene 2. The coworker who treats you like an assistant. You know the type. Hey, can you take notes? Hey, can you just put this together real quick? Hey, can you send that email to everyone? And you do it. Because you think, if I help, they'll appreciate me. They don't. They just learn that your time is cheap. Strategic rudeness sounds like this. Hey, could you take notes? You. I'm focused on contributing to the discussion. You can assign someone else or record the meeting. No apology. No, if that's okay. Just a statement. Is that rude? To someone who thinks you exist to support their life, yes. To someone with self-respect, it's basic. Scene 3. The late-night text. Hey, you up? I know it's last minute, but can you help me with, I just really need someone to talk to right now for the 10th time this week. It's 2 a.m. You've got things to do tomorrow. But you answer. Because you don't want to be mean. You know what's actually mean? Training people to believe you'll always answer, even when they wouldn't do the same for you. Strategic rudeness is not ghosting everybody. It's letting messages sit. You sleep. You reply the next day with boundaries. Hey, saw this morning. I'm not available at 2 a.m. If you need to talk, call me earlier next time. That's it. They might roll their eyes. They might call you cold. But your future self will thank you. Because here's the Machiavellian part. Machiavelli famously said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Niccolò Machiavelli. People rip this quote out of context to justify abuse. But read it through this lens. If you have to choose between people loving you and people being at least a little bit afraid of disrespecting you, which one actually protects your life? You've spent years chasing being loved. Where has it gotten you? You're exhausted, overextended, resentful. You want to know why? Because love without respect is how you get used. The moment someone knows you're desperate to not be rude, they know exactly how far they can push. Oh, they'd never cut me off. They'd never say no. They'd never walk away. So they don't adjust. You do. Over and over and over. A commenter under a short about being too nice said it perfectly. The day I realized people were more afraid of me being upset than of losing me, everything changed. I stopped trying to be lovable and started being intolerable to disrespect. I lost people who only liked me weak. That's the superpower. Not cruelty. Not violence. The willingness to risk being seen as rude rather than guaranteeing you'll be treated as disposable. So how do you become that kind of person if your whole personality has been built around being nice? You don't flip a switch. You rewire. Step 1. Redefine rude in your mind. Right now, your brain labels almost any form of self-respect as rudeness. Saying no feels rude. Not replying instantly feels rude. Asking for clarity feels rude. Saying, I don't like that, feels rude, so every time your body tries to protect you, your brain attacks you. I'm being mean. I'm selfish. I'm overreacting. We're going to change that association. From now on, when you feel that rude guilt for doing something simple like taking space or setting a limit, you ask one question. If my best friend did this to protect themselves, would I call them rude or brave? Almost every time, you'd say brave. You forgive them for what you crucify yourself over. Start borrowing that same mercy. Step 2. Micro-acts of rudeness. You don't start by blowing up at everyone. You start small. Don't laugh at a joke you don't think is funny. Just don't laugh. When someone talks over you, say, I'm not finished, and keep talking. When you get an annoying request, say, no, I can't do that, instead of over-explaining. Tiny breaks in the pattern. Your nervous system will freak out. You will feel like a villain. You are not. You are a person taking their humanity back from social pressure. Someone commented this under a video about saying no. My first rude moment was telling a friend, I'm not coming. I'm tired. No excuse. No fake story. I thought she'd be mad. She just said okay. Turned out the only person who needed the drama was me. Half the time, the disaster you fear doesn't even happen. The other half, when someone does get offended by your basic boundaries, you've just learned who was only there for the easy version of you. Step 3. Let silence do the work. Polite people are terrified of silence. After they say something firm, they rush to fill the space. I just don't like that. I mean, if that's okay. I totally understand if you're upset. I just stop. Say the sentence. Then shut up. I'm not okay with that. I won't be doing that. I don't like how you said that. No explanation. Let them feel the weight of your words. Let them deal with their own discomfort. That silence is where your power lives. Rude people are not actually louder. They're more comfortable letting tension breathe. Step 4. Decide who is allowed to see your softness. You don't have to be hard with everyone. In fact, you shouldn't be. But your softness should be earned. Right now, you hand it out for free. You give emotional labor to strangers. You overshare with people who haven't proved safe. You forgive people who haven't changed a thing. That's not kindness. That's a lack of gatekeeping. Machiavelli wasn't saying, be evil. He was saying, most people are moved by what they can see and take, not by your good intentions. So act accordingly. In modern terms, stop giving people access to the most gentle parts of you before they've shown they can handle your less gentle parts. Here's the simple rule. If someone cannot handle your rude side, your no, your honesty, your limits, they don't deserve your soft side. Because your softness without your edge turns you into a doormat with a heartbeat. We're not doing that anymore. In the next parts, we're going to go much deeper into this rudeness as superpower idea. How to use controlled rudeness to instantly shift power in conversations. How to stop apologizing for things you're not actually sorry for. How to build a reputation that makes people think twice before disrespecting you. Even if they don't like you, but for now, let this first truth sink in. The world doesn't reward the person who is nicest at their own expense. It rewards the person who is clear, a little bit dangerous, and willing to be seen as rude, rather than continue to be quietly destroyed by politeness. You don't have to become heartless. You have to grow a spine. And sometimes, from the outside, a spine looks rude. Good. Wear that label like armor. Because the day people realize, I can't talk to them like that anymore, is the day your life quietly gets safer. Let's rewind to a moment you hate thinking about. You were in a conversation that went sideways. Someone crossed the line. They joked about something that hurt. They cut you off. They dismissed you in front of people. And you felt it. Your chest tightened. Your face got hot. Your brain screamed, say something. Right now. But you didn't. You laughed. You brushed it off. You swallowed the words you wanted to say and replaced them with, it's fine. It's whatever. I know they didn't mean it. Hours later, you were alone, replaying it. Perfect comebacks. Perfect lines. Perfect, rude, responses, all in your imagination. You know what that is? That's self-betrayal, wrapped in politeness. And you've done it so many times, your brain has learned a sick little rule. When I'm disrespected, I protect them from discomfort, not me. This is why you feel chronically tired around people. This is why your social life drains you. This is why you keep saying, I hate drama. But your life is full of low-key emotional chaos. You're not allergic to drama. You're allergic to confrontation. You were never taught how to be just rude enough, early enough, to prevent volcano-level explosions later. Most nice people have only two modes. Mode 1, silent tolerance. Mode 2, nuclear meltdown. They tolerate. Then one tiny thing finally breaks them, and they go off. Screaming, crying, blocking, sending novels of texts. Then they feel guilty. Then they swing back to mode 1. I'll just let things go from now on. No, what you needed all along was mode 3. Mode 3 is controlled rudeness. Firm tone, short sentence, early correction, then back to calm. No lecture, no essay, no speech about your childhood trauma. Just, don't talk to me like that. I'm not okay with that joke. I'm not available for this. I'm going to go now. That's it. It looks small from the outside. Inside, it's a revolution. Because you're finally doing what your fear has been blocking for years. You're commanding yourself. Machiavelli said something that should be echoing in your head every time you feel yourself shrinking. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Niccolò Machiavelli, everyone loves that quote when they're thinking about other people. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command his team. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command his kingdom. Cute. Let's bring it home. He who wishes to be respected must know how to command his own mouth. He who wishes to be valued must know how to command his own boundaries. He who wishes to be at peace must know how to command his own fear of being rude. You've been trying to get respect without command, hoping your kindness would somehow manage your relationships for you, hoping your patience would teach people where the line is. It won't. People are not mind readers, and the ones who are inclined to use you, they count on your silence. One guy left this comment under a video about standards, and it's brutally simple. Nobody ever stopped walking all over me because they realized it was wrong. They stopped when I made it feel weird and costly to keep doing it. That's the job of rudeness in your life, to make it weird and costly to keep crossing you. Not catastrophic, not violent, just not smooth anymore. Think of social interactions like little contracts. Every time someone pushes, you sign the contract with your reaction. Laugh it off. You signed, this is okay. Explain yourself nervously. You signed, you have the right to interrogate me. Over-apologize. You signed, your comfort matters more than my truth. Controlled rudeness is ripping that contract in half. They push, you don't sign. They say something slick, you don't reward it with a laugh. They guilt trip you, you don't immediately justify your every move. You know what that feels like to someone who's used to getting away with everything? Disrespect. They'll say, you've changed. You're so rude now. You've got an attitude. Good. Rudeness is how they interpret the loss of free access to you. Machiavelli understood that most people don't care about fairness as much as they care about what they stand to lose. He said it in one of his coldest lines. Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Niccolò Machiavelli harsh? Yes. True. Also yes. For most people, losing benefits hurts more than losing connections. Translate that to your life. People will get over losing your presence much faster than they'll get over losing your usefulness. They will mourn what you do for them long before they mourn who you are. So when you suddenly stop answering every favor, stop being on call 24/7, stop letting them joke at your expense, they're not sad about who you've become. They're sad the benefits package has changed, and their sadness will sound like accusations about your character. You don't care anymore. You think you're better than us. You're so cold now. If you're not prepared, you'll fold. You'll take back your power just to prove, I'm still nice. I'm still the same. Please don't think I'm mean. And just like that, the free benefits resume. Rudeness as a superpower means you can hear those accusations and stay still. You can think calmly. Of course you're upset. You lost control. You'll live. One girl wrote this under a boundaries post, and it belongs tattooed across this entire topic. When I started saying no, people didn't say thank you for finally being honest. They got mad. For like 2 weeks. Then they adjusted. The only one who almost destroyed my progress was me, because I couldn't stand being seen as the bad guy. That's your real enemy, not them. You. Your inability to tolerate being seen as the bad one for a short time keeps you stuck playing the eternal good one in a story that's killing you slowly. So how do you build the stomach for that? You practice small doses of being misunderstood. You let people think you're rude without rushing to clear your name. You don't send the long clarifying message. You don't call 3 times to smooth it over. You don't explain your heart to someone who isn't even listening. You sit with the discomfort, that feeling in your chest that says, they hate me now. You don't obey it. Machiavelli has another line that hits here. Even though he was talking about power and timing, the wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Niccolò Machiavelli, the fool, spends 10 years being walked on, then finally blows up, blocks everyone, moves cities, rebrands their whole life. The wise one does small, rude corrections early. The fool waits until they're drained to say, I can't do this anymore. The wise one says, I'm not available for that, the first or second time it feels wrong. The fool waits until the friendship/relationship/job is rotted to the core before they set any limits. The wise one lets people be a bit disappointed so they can avoid being completely destroyed later. You want to be wise? Start doing early, small, slightly rude things that protect you from having to do big, dramatic, catastrophic things later. Okay, enough philosophy. Let's get into how this actually looks in your mouth, your body, your life. There are 3 levels of strategic rudeness. Level 1, tone. Level 2, words. Level 3, exit. You don't always have to use all 3, but you should know how to use each. Level 1, tone. Sometimes you don't even need different words. You just need a different delivery. I don't know if I can, nervous laugh, high pitch, versus I won't be doing that, calm, low, steady. Same topic, completely different energy. Your tone is where most of your social power leaks. You say something strong, then you undercut it with a smile, a giggle, or an apologetic tone. You've seen people who don't do that. They say, no, full stop, and they don't fill the silence. Everyone hears the period. Everyone respects it, even if they don't like it. You can train this. Try this. Next time you want to say yes out of guilt, pause for 2 seconds before you answer. 1, 2. Then say, no, I can't. Not, I don't think I can. Not, I'm not sure. Not, maybe another time. Just, no, I can't. Your heart will slam in your chest. You'll feel evil. You're not. You're using tone to align your outside with your inside. Level 2, words. This is where actual phrases matter. Here's a simple set of rude sentences that are actually just honest. I don't find that funny. Don't talk to me like that. That doesn't work for me. I'm not explaining this again. We're not having this conversation right now. I'm going to leave if this continues. You don't need to scream them. You don't need to dramatize them. You just need to say them once, clearly. Think about someone you respect who isn't a pushover. You've probably heard them say some version of these. They're not geniuses. They're just willing to be slightly abrasive in the moment to avoid being deeply resentful forever. One commenter said this under a clip about saying, don't talk to me like that. I was scared to say it the first time. I thought it would start a huge fight. All that happened was the person paused, laughed awkwardly, and changed their tone. That's when I realized my fear was louder than reality. You have no idea how many people will adjust if you simply tell them where your line is, once. And the ones who don't, those are the ones you need level 3 for. Level 3, exit. This is the rudest move of all in a world obsessed with constant access. Leaving. Not ghosting mid-conversation without warning. Not slamming doors. Simply following through on your boundary. They keep disrespecting you after you've named it. You leave the chat, the room, or the call. They keep making the same jokes you've told them to stop. You stop hanging out in that group. They keep demanding your time with no reciprocity. You stop being available. You don't send a manifesto. You don't list all their sins. Maybe you give a brief sentence. I'm not getting what I need from this, so I'm stepping back. Maybe you don't, if they've already shown they don't care. Exit is the part that terrifies you most. Because once you walk, you can't keep hoping they'll magically change. You've admitted to yourself, this is bad for me. I'm done. That kind of self-loyalty will feel like rudeness when you've been trained to tolerate anything to keep the peace. But here's the thing Machiavelli knew about peace. There is no real peace where there is no power. If other people hold all the power in your life to hurt you, drain you, shame you, use you, your peace is just pretending. Strategic rudeness is how you take some of that power back. Not to hurt them, to stop them from hurting you. There's a comment that showed up under a reel about cutting off draining friendships. My biggest fear was that walking away made me the villain. Then I realized, even if I stayed and died trying to fix it, I would still be the villain in their story the moment I said no. So I might as well protect myself. Exactly. To someone who profits from your lack of boundaries, you are the villain the moment you stop complying. You don't change that by being nicer. You just end up being a nice villain in their head and a destroyed person in real life. So stop playing for a fair trial in their mind. You're not getting one. Play for your own survival instead. Now, one more layer before we close this part. When you start using rudeness as a weapon, be ready for it to backfire on you if you use it wrong. There are traps here. Trap 1, overcorrecting. You go from being too soft to turning every interaction into a war. Suddenly, everything is disrespect. Every minor inconvenience becomes a boundary violation. you become exhausting. That's not power. That's you finally touching your anger and swinging it wildly like a kid with a sword. Remember, strategic rudeness is precise. You pick your moments. You don't correct every tiny thing. Trap 2. Punching down. You take this new edge and use it on people who aren't actually a threat. Customer service workers, waiters, siblings, people with less power than you. That's cruelty. That will destroy your character and your reputation. You're not learning to be rude so you can unleash your bitterness on the world. You're learning it to stop letting the world unleash its selfishness on you. Trap 3. Making it an identity. I'm just rude. That's who I am. No, you're not here to marry rudeness. You're here to master it. A mastered weapon is sheathed most of the time. You only pull it out when needed. Rude people who can't turn it off are just as weak as polite people who can't turn it on. True strength is range. The ability to be gentle by choice, not because you're incapable of anything else. Machiavelli's world was brutal. He saw what happens to those who are only kind in a landscape of wolves. But he wasn't telling you to become a monster. He was telling you to stop pretending monsters don't exist inside others and inside yourself. In the final part, we're going to pull all of this together. How to build a reputation where people expect you to be kind, but know you can be rude. How to use this rudeness superpower in love, work, and family without burning everything down. How to become that rare person who is both deeply good and impossible to play, because that's the real goal. Not to be feared for your cruelty, but to be respected for your willingness to be sharp when it counts. Politeness got you used. Ruthless honesty will get you respected. And sometimes, yeah, from the outside, that looks like rudeness. Good. You're not auditioning to be liked by everyone anymore. You're training to be safe with yourself, even if a few people have to whisper, they've changed. Let them. They're right. By now, something in you has already shifted. You can feel it. You're replaying old scenes with new eyes. The jokes don't seem so harmless anymore. The constant favors don't look so innocent. The way people used to speak to you doesn't sound normal now. It sounds like what it always was, entitlement, wrapped in your fear of being rude. You're starting to see the pattern. You weren't crazy. You weren't too sensitive. You weren't dramatic. You were just outnumbered by people who benefited from you staying too polite to say, stop. Machiavelli saw your situation 500 years ago. Not literally, but he saw what happens to someone who tries to be good in a world where many are not. He wrote, any man who tries to be good all the time is bound to come to ruin among the great number who are not good. Hence, a prince who wants to keep his authority must learn how not to be good, and use that knowledge, or refrain from using it, as necessity requires. Niccolo Machiavelli, you've been trying to be good all the time. You apologize when others should. You soften truths that need to land hard. You prioritize other people's feelings over your own safety. And life has been quietly proving Machiavelli right. You get ruined. Not always in one big explosion, but by 1,000 small self-betrayals. So when he says, learn how not to be good, he's not telling you to become evil. He's saying, if you want to keep your authority over your time, your energy, your dignity, you must learn how to act not good when necessary. In your world, that not good doesn't look like cruelty. It looks like rudeness. The unanswered message. The no, I don't want to. The don't speak to me like that. The I'm leaving now. The behaviors your childhood trained you to feel guilty about are the exact behaviors your adulthood needs you to practice. Let's talk about what this looks like in the 3 places people fear rudeness the most: love, work, family. Because if you can be a little bit Machiavellian rude in those 3 arenas, your whole life changes. Not because people suddenly become saints, but because the worst of them stops seeing you as easy prey. Love, here's the pattern you've probably lived through. You meet someone. You like them. You start overgiving, answering instantly, always available, laughing off things that hurt, saying it's fine when it's not. You don't want to scare them off. You don't want to seem crazy. So you hide your standards under a blanket of sweetness. Then one day they pull back. They take you for granted. They give the bare minimum. And you're confused. How can they not see how good I've been to them? They see it. They just learned something else about you too. You will abandon yourself to keep them comfortable. That's not attractive. That's convenient. Rude in love is not screaming or accusing. Rude is not replying at 2 a.m. when they only hit you up out of boredom. Saying, I don't like being spoken to that way, and then actually backing away if they keep doing it. Refusing to compete for somebody's attention when they're clearly playing games. Ending a situationship that's wasting your time instead of trying to be understanding for the 50th time. One person left this comment under a clip about not chasing. The first time I didn't double text, didn't over-explain, didn't check in after they clearly pulled away. I felt rude. A month later, I realized I'd just saved myself from begging for somebody who had already picked themselves. That's what your politeness has cost you. Time spent chasing people who already made their choice. Rudeness, properly used, is just you refusing to audition. Work and work. Rude is simply this. You stop treating your time like it's worth less than everyone else's. You don't say yes to every quick favor that eats your Saturday. You don't agree to unpaid emotional labor disguised as team spirit. You don't let your boss or clients speak to you like you're a punching bag for their stress. You'd be shocked how many people at work stop abusing you the moment you make it slightly uncomfortable to do so. You don't scream. You don't cry at your desk. You say, "I'm not okay with being spoken to like that. We can continue this when it's productive." Or, "That's outside the scope of my role. If you want me to take that on, we should adjust my responsibilities and compensation." Is that rude? To people who are used to you being grateful for crumbs, yes. To people with boundaries, it's basic. One commenter under a workplace boundaries video wrote, "I thought pushing back was career suicide. Then I watched the people who never push back get piled on with work and zero respect. The ones who said, 'No, that doesn't work for me,' got labeled as strong personalities, and somehow they were the ones still there after layoffs. That's the dark secret nobody tells you. Rude people often survive what nice people get sacrificed in. Because when the time comes to cut, managers don't just look at effort. They look at who looks strong, able to walk, able to leave, able to say no. Your rudeness, when it's grounded and clean, broadcasts that. Family, this is the hardest one. Because your guilt is deepest here. Don't talk back. Respect your elders no matter what. Family is everything. You were raised to believe that boundaries with family are betrayal. So when a parent guilt trips you, a relative disrespects you, a sibling dumps all their chaos on you, you obey, even if it's slowly crushing you. Strategic rudeness in family looks like saying, "I'm not talking about this," and ending the call. Saying, "That comment is disrespectful. Don't say that to me again." Saying, "I love you, but I'm not available for this kind of conversation," and then reinforcing it. They might scream. They might cry. They might rally other relatives to call you selfish. You hold the line anyway. Because here is the Machiavellian truth applied to your life. There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. Niccolo Machiavelli, you've been postponing war with your family for years. Not literal war. Emotional war. The hard conversation. The pushback. The moment you say, "I'm not your child anymore. I'm an adult, and this is not okay." You avoided that war, thinking you were preserving peace. You weren't. You were giving all the advantage to the people who benefit from you never confronting them. Every year you delay that boundary, their story grows stronger. This is just how we are. You're the difficult one. You're ungrateful. There is no avoiding confrontation. If you don't confront them, you confront yourself in secret every night. You hold the war inside. Rudeness, calm, direct, unapologetic, is you finally externalizing that war. Not to destroy your family, to stop them from unconsciously destroying you. The fox and the lion, now we bring it all together. Because if you go too far into rude mode, without strategy, you will just become another loud, messy person doing damage. That's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for this. Someone who can switch between gentle and sharp on purpose. Someone who is kind by choice, not because they're too scared to be anything else. Machiavelli gave you the perfect image for that. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Niccolo Machiavelli, you've been trying to live as neither. Not fox, not lion, just a very polite deer. Deer get eaten. From now on, you become both. Fox mind. You notice patterns, you read tone, subtext, behavior. You see who weaponizes guilt, who plays victim, who acts sweet but uses you lion body. You act. You say the sentence. You enforce the line. You walk away if needed. Fox without lion equals you see everything, change nothing, and slowly rot. Lion without fox equals you blast everyone, burn everything, and eventually stand alone. Fox plus lion equals you feel the manipulation before it hooks you, and you're willing to look rude in the moment to cut it off. A comment under a video about emotional manipulation said it perfectly. My life changed when I stopped trying to win every argument and just started exiting any room that required me to abandon myself to stay. It looked rude, but peace showed up for the first time. That's Fox plus Lion. You see the trap, Fox. You step out with no apology, Lion. Building a reputation, here's the underrated part of all of this. Your use of rudeness isn't just about random moments. Over time, it builds a reputation. People start to know you're generally kind, but you do not tolerate certain things. You'll listen, but you won't be emotionally blackmailed. You care, but you're not afraid to leave. You become that person others describe like this. They're nice, but don't mess with them. Do you realize how safe that makes your life? People think twice before joking a certain way. People think twice before asking for small favors they shouldn't. People think twice before trying to come back into your life on the same nonsense. They might think you're cold. They might think you're changed. They will also respect you more than they ever respected the old you. Because the old you is easy. And humans, being what they are, rarely value what's easy. Someone dropped this comment under a clip about becoming scarce. When I was available to everyone 24/7, nobody respected my time. When I started taking hours to reply, or not replying at all when I didn't want to, people called me rude. But suddenly, they only came to me with real things. All the nonsense disappeared. That's what your new reputation does. It filters your life. The people who can't handle even a drop of your rudeness, they fall away. The ones who stay, adjust, and even appreciate your honesty, those are the ones worth keeping. Rudeness rules. Let's put all this into a few clear, ruthless rules. You don't have to memorize them. You'll feel them. If kindness costs you self-respect, it's not kindness. It's self-harm in polite clothing. If someone calls your boundary rude, that tells you more about their entitlement than about your character. You are allowed to stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You are not required to stay in any space, chat, call, room, relationship, where you are being insulted, drained, or minimized. Your no does not need a tragic backstory to be valid. No is a complete sentence. If someone can only love you when you're endlessly accommodating, they don't love you. They love your obedience. You will be miscast as the villain in someone's story the moment you stop serving their comfort over your sanity. Let them tell that story. Keep living yours. You don't have to shout these rules at anyone. You just live them, day by day, interaction by interaction. And slowly, this happens. Your phone is quieter, but cleaner. Your circle is smaller, but safer. Your energy is lower at night, not from being drained, but from actually living. People will still test you. They always will. But instead of collapsing into apologies, you'll let that sharp, controlled rudeness rise. You'll say the thing. You'll send the boundary. You'll walk away. And then you'll carry on with your life. Not replaying the scene 500 times. Not writing unsent essays in your notes app. Not wondering, was I too harsh? Because you'll know, you weren't trying to be cruel. You were trying to be clear. And in a world built on manipulation, clarity feels like aggression to the people who profit from confusion. Let them feel it. The two roads, let's be honest. This whole video wasn't about turning you into some edgy, I don't care about anyone persona. It was about something much more uncomfortable. Growing up enough to see that your constant politeness has been used against you. That the version of you who swallowed everything kept everyone else comfortable while you quietly drowned. The world does not reward the person who is nicest to their own destruction. It rewards the person who is clear, protective of themselves, and willing to be misunderstood for a moment in order to be free for a lifetime. So here you are. Two roads. You can close this video and go back to the old script. Keep laughing at jokes that humiliate you. Keep saying yes when your entire body wants to say no. Keep apologizing for tiny things while other people never apologize for big ones. Keep being the polite one who everyone likes, but nobody really respects. Or you can decide that tonight is the line. From now on, you choose who gets your softness. You stop performing politeness for people who don't even care about your well-being. You allow yourself to be rude when necessary, to protect your time, your heart, your future. You learn, in Machiavelli's words, how not to be good on command, so that your goodness is finally your choice, not your prison. If you're done being the polite person people secretly know they can disrespect, tap like. If you're ready to become the kind of person who is kind on their own terms, dangerous when necessary, and impossible to quietly walk over. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop a comment with "rude on purpose" so I know you're one of the few who didn't click away when this got uncomfortable. And send this to the one friend who is too nice for their own good. The one always saying, "It's fine," with dead eyes. The one who keeps getting drained because nobody ever told them that a little rudeness might be the very thing that saves their life. Because this isn't self-help. This is strategy. This is war. And you didn't just learn how to be rude. You just turned your politeness into armor and your mouth into a weapon the world will have to respect.